What's going on, everybody? Midnyte back again here with another video. Today I'm responding to a video that I saw from Bellular. It disturbed me. It really kind of pissed me off because of the hypocrisy, and I'll explain why. We're going to watch the video together, and I'll stop every now and then to kind of give you my thoughts as we go along, but it's pretty bad, and I'll explain why as we go.
What's going on? It has been pissing me off, and I think it's no doubt been kind of angering you guys as well. And well, let's see if you can quite manage it. Lies of P, Total War Pharaoh, Baldur's Gate 3. Don't like to see you there in the list, Baldur's Gate, but I suppose it is here. Starfield, Forza Motorsport, Mortal Kombat 1, Payday 3, EA Sports, Football Club 24, and Ghost Runner 2. What do you think all these games have in common? The answer
they're mostly pretty good.
They have all found a way to get a little bit more money out of people by exploiting a little bit of the old FOMO on launch day. And that is because each one of these games somehow made extra money by offering premium access to those people who would be willing to pay.
Okay, so the first thing that Bellier is trying to do here is he uses the word exploiting. Now, I don't quite know why he would use that word, but let's exploiting, make full use of and derive benefit from. Exploit, use in an unfair or selfish way, benefit unfairly from the work or unwork. So it's either to make full use of, or to use in an unfair or selfish way. Now, what about paying for early access is unfair or selfish? It's called market capitalism. Now, anybody who knows me knows my politics. I'm as lefty as you can get. I'm a sock dem. I phone banked for Bernie Sanders in his 2016 California primary. But the fact that he's already trying to label what they're doing as negative, and he's like, oh, they're just exploiting. So he's already planting that seed that what they're doing is unfair, which is not true.
And if Baldur's Gate being in that list threw you for a loop, don't worry, it did throw me for a loop as well, because it only had the premium early access happen on the PS5, which, I mean, it's kind of obvious given they did, Steam early access over in Steam. But yeah, even for that, for their PS5 release, they did it that way. And it does show that, like, this is a very widely spread phenomenon. It's happening from many, many different developers out there. And it quite obviously does make a lot of money. Now, it's also something that happens in MMOs. It happens in ARPGs too, like Diablo 3. And that can be kind of tricky, because these are games that have that kind of social element, right? Where you want to be playing with your friends. You don't, well, I don't anyway, like the idea that and I suppose the way they're trying to sell this to, to the average customer is, hey, your friends are playing this game. Look on Twitch.tv. All those streamers are playing the game, and you can't. Fork up the bucks. And sometimes that could be $10, could be 20, could be 30, hell, even 40, depending on what edition we are dealing with. Now, this is a headline from PC Gamer. World of Warcraft director says players who pay for early access to the next expansion won't have a, quote, long-term advantage.
Okay, so the fuck what? So the fuck what? If you don't want it, don't pay for it. If people don't want this, and most people don't pay for it, they won't advertise it. They won't do it. But enough people pay for it. Sounds like there's a quote unquote market for it. Therefore, a company, which is supposed to be a business to make money in order to produce more games and hire better developers and make more games and make the games better. I just don't understand what the actual problem is. Like, is gaming a charity? Is his game The Pale Beyond free? Oh, guess what? Spoiler alert, Bellular charges on his Patreon for early access to his videos. But we'll get to more on his hypocrisy later.
Because yes, if you want to be the first person to hit level 80 in World of Warcraft, The War Within, yeah, you'll have to pay, right? You won't get the world first if you don't pony up. Now, of course, world first max level, nobody really cares about that massively.
So he just proved himself wrong. He just contradicted himself. If you want to be world first level 80, you got to do this, but nobody gives a shit about it. Which one is it?
You know, in a game like World of Warcraft anymore. It's not like it was in the past. And in a way, like, it doesn't give you a humongous advantage, right? World of Warcraft's one of those games where the loot that matters is generally throttled on a weekly basis. Within the early access period, you won't be able to do like a weekly quest or a Mythic +0 dungeon. Those things that would get you the better gear. So
He's proven himself wrong again. He's just said that the 3 days of early access just gets you to max level. So the fuck what? So the fuck what? I want to get to max level 3 days early. I want a head start so I can have time to myself. Same reason why I pay people to wash my car.
as far as the end game goes, the only benefit is you have more time to level up alts and to prepare alts. And for some people, that might actually be a meaningful thing. Of course, even power aside, I would say that if we focus too much here on the advantage that this sort of thing gives a player, that actually means that we are focusing less on the psychological elements that are at play here, and I think those are the ones that feel, in a way, the most egregious to us. Of course, some other examples here. Xbox had 5 days of premium access for Starfield and for Forza. Of course, that was a way for them to do the whole upgrade path for the Game Pass subscribers. We had the premium access on PlayStation for Baldur's Gate 3. Then, of course, there are some games that had multiplayer systems you could access early, like Mortal Kombat 1 and EA Sports Football Club 24, where, yes, you will probably want to get some more time into the game to actually try to be better than your friends. Also, there are some other ones that, well, really did have it backfire, because for Payday 3, you could actually buy premium early access. However, the access bit is not necessarily granted, really, in any of these scenarios, given technical issues. But in Payday 3, their servers hardcore died, and the game didn't exactly have a single-player mode, so if you did buy that better edition for the sake of early access, you will have felt pretty damn bad. But ultimately here, it's fairly simple. You have your projected number of sales. You probably will realize that offering this on a more expensive edition, an edition that you're going to put out anyway, because there's always going to be a digital deluxe edition that comes with some cosmetics. They can put this into the digital deluxe edition and they can increase their average spend per user by, I don't know, 20%. Turns out that is a way where you can simply increase your revenue by 20%.
Wow. Sounds like a business is making a really good business move.
Increasing the number of players who buy your game by 20%, probably quite a bit harder. And ultimately, we know that this does work, and while we cannot, run a controlled experiment here, it very much doesn't seem like this is something that has much of a negative impact, other than people like you and me talking about it with our mates over the internet and saying, oh god, back in the day, this used to not be as bad. That is why the industry is moving towards selling you for not being punished. But it turns out, this is, but one thing in a long line of very interesting tactics. Some tactics from back in the day when I was younger that many of us may even have forgotten. But there's one thing you shouldn't forget. That is bellular.ghost.io. As an example here is the full research report that my team produced for this topic. Our members get all of those reports, as well as Loading Screen, which is our daily, 5 days a week newsletter. You get early access to videos, which I know is rather hilarious given it is this video, but at the
Oh my god. He's bitching about gaming companies offering early access, and he advertises his early access. Oh my god. What an unbelievable hypocritical piece of shit.
the end of the day, we generally try to be ahead of ourselves in production. Obviously, if we just spit everything out onto YouTube within a single day, we will be algorithmically slaughtered.
Okay, let's look this over. So, here's what Bellular wants, because I can already read his mind. I know what he's thinking. He wants gaming companies to sell just the base game and say, okay, here's our base game. Everybody buy it. Everyone pays the same price. Everyone gets the same starting point. But what he is ignoring is reality. He's ignoring that he's ignoring capitalism. And it's never going to play out that way. That's what he wants. He wants every gaming company to charge for a base game. Yet he literally says, well, I can't just dump my YouTube videos out on YouTube for people to watch and just earn the money that way. I have to space my videos out. I have to charge you more. So he's just proving himself wrong. Like, why would you?
As well as other bonus goodies and things. It's also the best way to support what we're doing, which right now is particularly appreciated because the advertisement rates.
Why do I need to support what you're doing? I'm watching your video. You're getting money from me. Why do you need more money? Just make it that way.
It means it's harder to, actually have a team to make sure that our info is good and that our analysis actually lands. So you can check out bellular.ghost.io for more of that. And with that said, let's discuss why this became the de facto way of getting a few more bucks out of people. And it is basically because this happens to align perfectly with the motivations of the money people, because the enemy of the money people in games is time, right? That basically is the situation. Time is pretty much always the enemy. This is an industry that's changed a lot over the last 10 years. As an example, even think of Project $10. You may have totally forgotten about this, but it was a marvelous thing pioneered by Electronic Arts CEO John Riccitiello. We know him from the recent news cycle. I wonder what his next gig will be. But what that was is that if you purchased a video game new, that video game inside it would have a code, right? And you would need to enter that code in order to unlock multiplayer functionality. This meant that a pre-owned game, well, couldn't play multiplayer until you went and purchased the code. This is basically because at the time it was perceived that pre-owned was kind of killing video games. And you can sort of understand why it was very annoying for the publishers. Publisher spends all these millions to get these developers to make a game, right? The developers make the game, but the publishers and the developers only make money on new sales of a game. So there's a game for $70, you sell it to GameStop, GameStop gives you $40, they then sell it to, or $30, I don't know, they probably give you nothing. They then sell, the game a second time to somebody else. And in that second transaction, the game company makes absolutely shag all money. You can see how that was, not something that they loved. And this is, in fact, one of the reasons why digital has been so pushed, on.
Okay, so I want to interject here because my first experience with this was when I bought NHL 11 pre-owned. It came out I bought it a couple months after it came out. And I had that same problem where I couldn't play multiplayer, which I wanted to do. And I think I had to buy like a $5 code to play multiplayer. The funniest part about that was that died pretty quick because the gaming companies realized that if I buy a game that has multiplayer and I sell the game, I'm no longer using the multiplayer service. I can't use it if I sell the game. So if one person takes it over, they're now using the multiplayer service that I paid for technically. So I wasn't a big fan of it. But once again, it's just another way for them to try and recoup money they thought they were losing. Now, I've always been a big fan of the pre-owned game industry. The same reason why I'm a fan of the pre-owned car industry, as someone who's in the car business. Car dealerships, and they don't give a shit about used cars, their car being sold twice. They don't make money off the second time it's sold. But gaming companies did for a little while. Maybe they still do. I'm not sure. But it's definitely something of note.
On the industry. Obviously, the other side of digital is it is really bloody convenient. Now, that was a tactic that back in the day hit the time-sensitive gamer or the patient gamer, right? The person who's actually willing to wait a little bit of time, get the game for cheaper, and all of that stuff. And that just kind of shows how, time is fairly important. Think about how much a game is discounted. It's the same game. In fact, it's actually a better version of that game. And if you just wait 6 months, you'll get the same damn thing at half the price. Yet, why do we all go, oh my god, it's launch day, hype, let's go! And then we all watch Twitch or something like that. We put emotes in the chat and we get excited. It's because launch day is launch day. The reason why the patient gamer is venerated is because we all think, look at you get these great experiences for less money, but I am not strong enough, I buy games new. And that just shows that actually there is a really major value in buying the game right now when it's in the zeitgeist. Like, I will play Alan Wake 2.
Okay, very good point. So back when I took a break from WoW, I went back to console gaming, and what I did was I backtracked and I bought games super cheap. I bought Witcher 3 for like $10. I bought Red Dead Redemption for like $30. and I liked it. But one of the things was, by the time I started playing those games, it wasn't a popular thing to play. So when I went to stream or when I went to make content for it, I was behind the curve when it comes to gaming. Gaming is now, I mean, could you get a really good experience? Yes. But as someone who's a streamer, content creator, or someone that enjoys being part of the hype, as that's our culture now with Twitch and social media and all this kind of stuff, it's really important to be in it when it's popular. Whereas, you know, like for instance, I love Cyberpunk. I bought it when it was on sale, like I think 6 months after it came out. Nobody was playing it anymore. So when I went to stream it, I didn't get a lot of viewers. So it wasn't worth my time. Might be worth other people's time, but guess what? That's the reality that we live in. So gaming companies, being smart marketers, decided, well, if this is the market, if this is the culture, we need to find a way to make money off of it, because clearly there's the old model of video games of just selling a base game isn't paying the bills, clearly, because game developers make more money than they used to, adjusted for inflation, than they did back in the 90s.
Late. And I won't enjoy that at the same time the rest of the world is in there. And you could say that I will lose a little bit of value from that. And I think that just shows how powerful time is in a world where every consumer knows they can get a better deal, a better game for less money. In large part, they choose not to go with that option. And we all do it. So no wonder if time is that important of a psychological hook in the average consumer that they do this. And this is where we actually get some fantastic numbers. I was kind of, my jaw dropped a little bit. I mean, it wasn't really out of surprise. It was just out of the sheer money.
So he's got evidence to prove why.
But yeah, when Connor pulled up this statistic for today's research, even in spite of the branding change, obviously from FIFA 24 to EA Sports FC 24, they saw a 25% increase in premium access numbers for the game. That was, of course, no doubt helped by the period of play being increased to 7 days. Yes, you just get the game flat out a week early. How far are they going to push this thing, guys? You think we're ever just going to have, like, I don't know, you get the Saudi Prince edition. It comes out it costs $5,000 and it comes out 6 months early. A build just for you. Okay, that's me obviously taking the piss, but
guess what? If you're a fucking millionaire, you get certain advantages. Welcome to real life.
But hey, it just does show how impactful this kind of thing is, and that is why, folks, the FOMO is going to be ramped up and up and up and up. So the question then is, right, we've used FOMO, we've used the premium access thing, what's the next thing we're going to do? And this is where we have another fantastic evolution from Electronic Arts. Right, let's go on this. So they've really ramped up the FOMO. Pre-order now and receive extra content. Football Club, whatever it is.
They've been doing pre-order bonuses for decades. Like, what's the problem with pre-order bonuses? What's the problem?
Is Heroes for a limited, it's UEFA, yes, limited time only UEFA Champions League Hero. Pre-order Ultimate Team before 22nd of August to get an additional untradeable Team Hero in November. Even if you weren't going to go for that big, premium access thing, the pre-orders have a cutoff date, so now there's even FOMO with the pre-order, which obviously is them just trying to get that revenue right the hell now. If you're doing like a physical thing like this book we did, or this art book for our video game, you can understand that because it's a physical item. You've got to be like, all right, these are the numbers, I want to do some manufacturing. We didn't actually end up having to do that because with how the order quantities worked, we ended up just being able to buy like more than enough because we were able to hit a certain amount of volume where it was safe to do so. But anyway, it's kind of no longer really the point. Basically, this is just even more FOMO being applied. It's like every single stage of a game's... I mean, it's insane now that they're not even being like, hey, do you want to watch the next Call of Duty trailer a week early? Give us $1. Please don't do that. Please, EA, please, Activision, don't do that. Anyway, point is they're absolutely ramping up that not particularly nice stuff. But what about if this sort of thing was to happen to an entire character? in a fighting game that also is caught up in this entire situation with premium access and pre-order nonsense. Here's just a headline of the Reddit post that exploded from PC Gaming. Warner Brothers Game Support wrote me that I'm not getting my pre-order Mortal Kombat 1 Shang Tsung character because I ordered the game yesterday and it's not pre-ordered. What a pity that the game is not advertised like this on Steam. Isn't that cool? Yes, this is a very interesting thing where if you pre-ordered Mortal Kombat 1, you get the long-time series villain as a playable character. Now, this is a game that came out September 19th. If you bought the premium edition of the game, you got 1 week early access starting on the 14th. Now, this early access would imply that it's a bonus in the game's launch, right? That it's not the actual launch, right? Because it's early access, not the launch, which happens later. Therefore, buying the game on the 17th, which, bear in mind, is before the launch day, which is the 19th, that should count as a pre-order, right? Per Warner Brothers Game Support, evidently not. From their point of view, it did not count as, did not count as a pre-order of the game because the player, who, by the way, didn't buy the more expensive version of the game, didn't actually buy the launch day, I suppose. It's just weird, right? It's like they almost kind of violate their own logic of why it would even be called early access in the first place. But of course, it's because we all know that it was never about early access to a game, and it was always about selling the true release date because, yes, scumbags, pretty much. Look, pre-orders, they can be bad for a consumer. It's one of those things, when it's done by the super big companies, can be a bit of an issue. There's even times like with Pale Beyond, we didn't do pre-orders, and like the reason why we didn't do pre-orders was because it actually doesn't really help you at all. It actually can even hurt you on the Steam algorithm. So we decided not to do pre-orders for that reason. Now, there could be an example where maybe we did an early access or something like that.
So here's what pre-orders does for a business, especially for publicly traded companies. If a company can advertise that they have 100,000 pre-orders on a video game, that helps their stock price, it helps their bottom line, and it's also a great way to I mean, it's the same reason why companies take deposits for like Tesla, for instance. You have to put down a deposit on the car before it comes out, so you can get it first instead of just waiting for it to come out. It's just the concept of buying something or ordering something before it comes out has been around for such a long time. It's really a bad point.
Maybe it's like, I mean, I don't know. There's probably scenarios where it's fine, but you have to be very, very, very clear and, open with everybody about that. You don't obviously a situation where it's like, hey, Cyberpunk 2077 is going to come out in 45 years. Pre-order it now. But yeah, pre-orders, we know those are rumbly, but now premium access, what is it? It is a tool that adds nothing to your game. It takes away from the launch experience. It is just trying to manipulate human psychology.
How is it trying to manipulate human psychology? It's capitalizing on trends in gaming where getting beta. So for instance, I bought the premium access edition for WoW, The War Within. You want to know why? I want beta access. I want early access. You want to know why? Because I'm a content creator and I want to stream beta. And the one time I streamed beta and put content on beta, it was some of my highest watched content. Had I just kept going, I probably would be a much more successful content creator. But at the time, I just didn't think to do it. Now I know how important it is.
And effectively, it's manipulating the fact that we are a social species. And that's fairly disgusting. And that's really it for the video.
How's that
that's
disgusting?
It's happening more and more. Now it's happening in World of Warcraft, which of course is the Blizzard game that I do play the most. I'll be transitioning over to Stormgate soon. Keep it up, Stormgate boys. Anyway, that's essentially the crack there. If you want to support me and my team, well, you can go to bellular.ghost.io. And thank you to everybody who has joined the membership there. It means a lot, and it is genuinely extremely helpful.
So this video's gone on pretty long because of how long this one was. So I want to cut it short here. It's pretty clear that Bellular is an absolute hypocrite. If he truly believed what he said, he wouldn't charge for early access for any of his materials. He would practice what he preaches. And it's unfortunate that people like him have an audience that's influenced by him simply. And remember, his only goal right now is to make money off of you. The Pale Beyond is designed to make money. His YouTube channel, his Patreon is designed to make money. He's manipulating you that if you want to see my content early and hear what I have to say, give me a little money. He's a fucking hypocrite. Thanks for watching.